Are you ready for a free daily tarot card reading? If you are, I'm Ross Cessna from Spiritual Phoenix Studios, but before we get started, we are going to take a deep breath. We're going to breathe in through our nose for 8, hold it for 4, and then breathe out of our mouth for 8. So breathe in. And if you feel better, drop a like, leave a comment, let me know. So this is actually called the Star Spread. It is a 7-card spread. We are going to look at the present situation, our emotions, our beliefs, the heart of the matter, the unconscious, or what is hidden and what will surface, hopes and dreams, and the outcome. This is for everybody, all signs. If you feel that this resonates with you, claim it in the comments. If you don't feel it, get a personal reading if you need one. This is going to be more general, right? We can dial it in more personally. First card that we have is the present, and that is the Page of Swords, or Knight of Swords, in reverse. Knight of Swords in reverse is about being on a warpath, or being hostile, or being somewhat aggressive, right? Flavor of the year is kind of, a lot of us are burnt out, emotionally drained, exhausted, so we might be just a little bit testy. It's a good thing we took that breath at the start of this, right? And then when we look at the next card, which is emotions, it actually makes sense kind of why the present moment we're a little bit on the warpath. Ace of Cups in reverse. So aces are generally about potential. Cups are about the emotions. This is usually about the potential for our emotions to be fulfilled, and compassion and intimacy and connection. Right now, there's a lot of superficiality and kind of rejection going on. So politically, we're very divided. Right now, there's also a lot of putting on fronts because all of us are so exhausted. Holidays kind of bring out the worst in people, even though it's supposed to do the exact opposite. It's kind of a shitty time for a lot of people. But the cool thing about the Star Spread is the Star card is about hope and renewal and vitality and this light in the darkness. So although this is kind of a dark start to the reading, let's see where we finish up, right? The beliefs come into factor next. And for the belief card, we have 6 of Cups in reverse. 6 of Cups in reverse is clinging and attachment. So this is an Emperor year. Emperor is about stability and structure. And a lot of us are clinging or attached to our old ways of thinking and relating to the world, our old ways of perceiving things. And as much as I hate to say the term, the new normal, a lot of us are still clinging to this old way and haven't accepted kind of where things are progressing. And that lack of acceptance will always create tension and conflict and stress and drama internally. And additionally, other people doing so and their resistance to progressing will hold us back too, right? This is kind of a big cultural awakening, and not in the terms of corona or politics or anything like that. This is all part of a bigger shift in consciousness. I thoroughly believe that, and a lot of the more immature attitudes and mindsets and emotional representations of situations are going to work themselves out. Unfortunately, this is like the temper tantrum period of that. Next card that we have is the Heart of the Matter. The Heart of the Matter is the Page of Cups in reverse. This is generally about being a dreamer, and maybe having more of an imagination than a connection to reality. This can be good in sometimes. Right now, though, the heart of the matter is I think people are still in fantasy land with how they want things to be, and rather than how things are, right? And whenever we're not kind of in alignment with reality, we're living in untruth, and truth is pretty persistent and has a way of continuing to show up until we accept it and acknowledge it and make changes to reflect that truth. And that's going to create a lot of this discomfort and button pushing and aggression, emotional exhaustion, and attachment and clinging. So it's kind of where we're at. Next thing we come up to is the unconscious. What is hidden and what will surface? 4 of Wands comes up. 4 of Wands is about harmony, home, and marriage. And this is a thing that's interesting, right? This year has completely rocked everybody's foundation to the core, has really shooken a lot of people. But when you get to understand like what's actually going to surface, what's going to bubble up from the subconscious, it's actually going to help redefine what's really important, and that's our connection to other people and how we relate. And despite how divisive everything might be culturally right now, like, it will bring us together eventually, because there isn't really any other option. It's either collectively as a species, we learn to appreciate all of today's things and honor everybody's interpretation of harmony, home, and marriage, everybody, regardless of any divisive factor, or as a species, we're kind of fucked, pardon my language, if we don't do that. And honestly, not doing that is a sign of incredible immaturity and ignorance if we don't move forward towards that. Because it just doesn't make any freaking sense. Like, that's a very old mindset, and it's really based upon fear and ignorance. Because any educated person would see that a lot of the things that we're divided over right now shouldn't make sense and shouldn't even be issues. They just shouldn't. Hopes and dreams comes up next. Hopes and dreams is interesting. It's temperance in reverse. Temperance in reverse is generally about like overindulgence or excess. And I think that the hopes and dreams is that we can live in excess and have an abundance of things, right? Especially if we're here in the West. Like, that's the American dream. Having a bunch of money, having a bunch of crap, and living large and not having to work. It's kind of like the American dream for a lot of people, right? But the truth of it is, upright version of temperance, we need to come into balance with moderation and respect and sobriety, not in the thought of not being intoxicated, but clarity of thought, right? That's what our hopes and dreams actually should be. And if you're in the West, or if you're watching this on a cell phone, chances are that you're in the upper 20% of the upper 20% of richest people in the world. And I understand that there's a huge gap between the 1% and the other 19 or whatever. But most people who have our types of phones are wealthier than 80% of the population of the world. So when you align your hopes and dreams with, dare I say it, reality, you're actually doing better than most people. You just haven't learned to appreciate that yet. And when you tap into that abundance and have that awareness, you're going to be living a vastly different life. That's the thing that's super funny, right? Our lives are much, much greater than we ever know. The issue is the desire that we have to have things better than they are is what makes us miserable. Isn't that funny? The same shit happens to me too. Like, I'm actually aware of this on a conscious level somewhat regularly, and I forget that stuff and get wrapped up in it. So the outcome of all of this current situation is Mother of Cups in reverse. Mother of Cups in reverse is manipulation and jealousy, right? If we maintain the current attitude that we have, we're always going to be jealous, and it actually makes us more easy to become victim to other people's games, manipulations, this, that, or the other. Because when you want something, you're more easy to be manipulated. But when you learn to appreciate what you have, you're able to more consciously choose what you want to invite into your life. And that is where our power lies, the ability to make choices. So the star card is all about hope. This is almost like the reverse star card, right? Because this is all about pessimism and kind of this lack of seeing the good or benefit in situations. We're going to draw one more card to kind of change the energy of this, because this is some stank ass energy and I don't really want to close it like this. It's like when you train a dog, or like when you're like training anybody, you always want to end on a high note, because closing on a bad note doesn't leave a good flavor in their mouth. What comes up is freedom, right? The freedom here that I think that we're talking about is the freedom to, how do I want to put this? Freeing ourselves from a lot of our old attitudes and ideas and beliefs about what we actually need, and focusing on what's important. And generally, when we give other people the freedom to be themselves within reason, and the freedom to live in a safe and healthy world, and we make conscious decisions to help protect the well-being and health of everybody involved, that actually opens up a lot more freedom for everybody. But when we're selfish and we do everything the way that we perceive that it should be, and are willing to jeopardize the health and well-being of other people for our own self-interest, not only does that not make us free, it actually steals the liberty of other people. and we're only as free as the most impoverished citizen of any nation in our world. So chew on that. And I did a good job avoiding directly saying anything that might be controversial. I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to speak the truth, as the cards say, and speak the truth of how to show up and live in the world, which is compassion, empathy, understanding, respect, tolerance, peace, and appreciation. And with that being said, I'm going to shut up. If you like this video, let me know. Drop a comment. If it resonated, drop a question. Check out my stuff on all of the social media. I'm pretty much everywhere. Hope to see you around. If not, I'll run into you again at some point, I'm sure. Peace. Hey, thanks again for checking out my channel. If you haven't already, subscribe by hitting the Phoenix down below and check out more of my videos over there.